The temple bell echoes across Edo, its bronze voice carrying a secret way of measuring the day that would soon be rewritten forever in the early Meiji era. This is not the time you know. This is not the hour you understand. In old Japan, time itself breathed with the seasons. What if I told you that in feudal Japan, a summer hour could swell far beyond the 60-minute blocks we live by today? That monks burned incense to measure shifting moments, that merchants timed their trades by the length of shadows, and that the most ingenious clockmakers in the world built mechanical marvels that could follow time as it changed each day. Welcome to a world where time was alive, elastic, seasonal. Welcome to Japan Rewind, where we uncover the stories that shaped a nation. Today we journey into the temporal heart of Edo, Japan, to discover how an entire civilization lived by a clock that shifted every single sunrise. This is the story of the unequal seasonal hour system and the extraordinary lengths people went to capture time itself. The breathing hours. Picture this. The sun rises over Edo Castle, and with it, time begins to stretch. Under the unequal seasonal hour system, day and night were each divided into 6 toki. But these weren't the rigid, identical hours we know. These hours lived, they breathed, they expanded and contracted with the rhythm of the earth. In summer, when daylight stretched long across the archipelago, each daytime hour could drift far past a modern 60 minutes, sometimes nearing 90 minutes of warmth and labor packed into a single toki. Merchants sweated through long trading periods. Farmers worked beneath an afternoon that felt almost endless. But when winter arrived, those same daylight hours tightened, compressed toward 3/4 of an hour. Brief, precious segments of light that forced life to move faster, act quicker, live more intensely. At night, the rhythm reversed. Summer nights brought 6 compressed hours, moments that passed swiftly in the warm dark. But winter nights stretched luxuriously long, each hour expanding into a contemplative space where monks meditated, and lovers found eternity in a single embrace. This wasn't chaos, this was poetry. A civilization refusing to impose artificial uniformity upon nature. Every sunrise reshaped the clock. Every sunset rewrote the length of night. The symphony of bells. Across Edo, 9 great temple bells created a symphony of time. These weren't random chimes. They were the heartbeat of a city. Each bell tower stood within hearing distance of the next, forming an acoustic network capable of synchronizing 1,000,000 lives without a single mechanical clock. The ritual was precise, almost sacred. At each designated hour, the first bell struck its warning strokes, a deep bronze call rolling across tile rooftops and narrow wooden streets. Then, in perfectly timed succession, the other bells answered, weaving a resonant tapestry that told everyone exactly where they stood in the day's unfolding story. And here's what makes it extraordinary. The bell ringers had to adjust their timing every single day. As the hours lengthened or shortened with the seasons, these human timekeepers recalibrated everything. A delayed bell could disrupt shop openings, temple ceremonies, administrative duties. The responsibility was enormous. The bells themselves followed a distinctive numbering pattern: 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, then repeating the cycle. But they skipped 1, 2, and 3, not because of superstition, but because those stroke counts were reserved for Buddhist ritual calls and were not used for ordinary timekeeping. This created a unique temporal language where the hour of the horse, umanokoku, meant one thing in the long summer light and something entirely different in the short winter day. In rural communities where large bells were fewer, village headmen and local lords became the keepers of time. Farmers coordinated irrigation, shared labor, open markets, all guided by these shifting signals. Time wasn't just measured, it was performed. The incense masters. Step into a Yoshiwara tea house at dusk, and you'll witness one of history's most elegant timekeeping arts. Incense clocks, delicate spirals or straight sticks of aromatic powder, burned at precisely calculated rates to track the breathing hours of the day. These weren't mere candles. Master craftsmen blended sandalwood, aloes wood, and rare materials to create incense that burned faster or slower depending on the season. A summer hour required a longer burn. A winter hour demanded a shorter one. Some incense clocks used long, winding powder trails with tiny markers or embedded metal pieces that produced a soft chime as the ember passed. Merchants used them for business negotiations, monks for prayer cycles, and in the pleasure quarters they measured the cost of companionship. The air itself became a timepiece, a drifting ribbon of fragrance marking the passage of an unequal hour. Imagine walking through Edo's streets, knowing the time not by looking, but by breathing. The faint scent of aloes wood telling you that evening was near. Time had aroma, texture, presence. The mechanical poets. In the workshops of Edo's finest artisans, something astonishing was happening. European clockmaking had entered Japan, but it did not remain European for long. These craftsmen transformed imported mechanisms into Wadokei, Japanese clocks built to obey the unequal seasonal hours. The engineering was breathtaking. Some Wadokei used double foliot escapements, twin governors that switched between day and night speeds. Others employed adjustable pillar systems, where the hour markers could be moved every few days to match the changing daylight. The most sophisticated designs required regular recalibration, their owners becoming artists of time, tuning the mechanism to the rhythm of each sunrise. Picture a samurai lord adjusting his Wadokei at dawn, aligning brass markers and sliding components so the day's toki would unfold in harmony with nature. These weren't just machines. They were philosophies in wood and metal. Where Western clocks imposed mechanical uniformity, Wadokei bowed to the fluidity of the seasons. Water clocks, the ancient rokoku, continued their slow, steady work in temples and offices, separate but parallel to the new mechanical timekeepers. A quiet reminder of Japan's long relationship with the passage of water and light. The Wadokei represented the pinnacle of adaptive engineering. Technology that danced with nature rather than dominating it. The social rhythms. Time in Edo. Japan wasn't universal. It was lived differently by every class. The samurai depended on castle bells, administrative schedules, and official time signals. For them, punctuality was duty, discipline, honor. High-ranking retainers sometimes owned personal Wadokei, symbols of refinement and responsibility. Merchants saw time as opportunity. They opened and closed shops by the bell, timed negotiations with incense clocks, and mastered punctuality to maximize profit within shifting daylight. Their precision became a cultural virtue. Farmers lived by the sun itself. They worked when light permitted and rested when darkness returned. Shadows. Temperature, animal behavior, these were their clocks. Bell signals helped coordinate communal work and irrigation, but nature remained the primary guide. Monks moved through their days with spiritual exactitude. Prayer cycles, meditation periods, and rituals required timekeeping regardless of season. Incense and water clocks allowed them to honor sacred rhythms even as the hours stretched or tightened around them. Each class inhabited its own temporal culture. Time wasn't a single river. It was many streams, each flowing at its own pace. The Great Transformation. Then came the Meiji Ishin, and with it, a seismic shift. In 1872, the new government, eager for railways, telegraphs, treaties, and international alignment, abolished the lunar calendar and the unequal hours. Western fixed time was declared the new national standard. By 1873, the old system was no longer the law of the land, and in the years that followed, its bells and incense signals slowly faded from daily life. Wadokei craftsmen saw their art lose purpose almost overnight. Bell ringers found their skills recast under the new system. The incense masters, whose knowledge had shaped entire social worlds, watched their traditions dim. Japan gained synchronization, but lost something poetic. A worldview where time was alive, elastic, grounded in the movement of nature. Imagine waking up in a world where the hours you lived by, the rhythms of your ancestors, were suddenly declared obsolete. Time itself had been rewritten. As the age of unequal hours slipped into memory after 1873, Japan didn't just change its clocks, it changed its soul. The breathing hours, the seasonal rhythms, the mechanical poetry of Wadokei, all of it gave way to the uniform tick of modern time. But perhaps there is something worth remembering. That time does not need to be mechanical. That hours can breathe. That rhythm can follow nature rather than resist it. The craftsmen of Edo understood this. Their clocks didn't conquer time, they collaborated with it. They created a civilization where every hour was a unique creation, a moment shaped by light, season, and the turning of the earth. If this journey through Japan's temporal past has moved you, if you felt the poetry of breathing hours and shifting rhythms, then like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Japan Rewind for more stories that reveal the extraordinary heart of Japanese history. Until next time, remember that time itself is a story, and every moment is worth savoring.